I'm back again. I just wanted to I wanted to give y'all a quick testimony, right? I wanted to tell y'all a quick story about the mercies of Yahawah, man. And actually this is inspired. There was a brother from Kansas, Shalom. I shared his video like 2 months like a month or 2 months ago. I forget what channel. And basically he dodged the swab even though all his partners had to take the swab, right? And he was saying it had basically jacked him up. But, Yahweh had mercies on him. And that's something I've been contemplating. I bet you we all been contemplating. Because now with my job, right, it is almost feeling like the walls was closing in, right? Because it's all Edomites, right? I do like a highway job. And so the guys, most of the Edomites, they're these dudes that be climbing up the poles and doing electrical work and shit, right? And listen, they all got maxed out. They're all maxed out. Not one of them stopped to pause and say, let me consider this. And what's crazy is that the majority of them are all diehard Trumpers, right? So if you pay attention to Trump, you would at least have a grasp of the aspect of fake news, which would then lead you to look for certain information because of the threat of fake news, right? But somehow, some way, they all got maxed out, not even thinking twice. And I'm like, man, these I'm just looking, man. So what happened is now I have a partner, right? My partner's an old head. He like 60 something. He about to retire. But him and I drive with him. He drives, right? He's got the cleanest and the biggest vehicle out of all the other drivers at the company, right? And it's just funny how the Most High moved and partnered me up with him. Like, I told this story about how Yahweh, he moved me. First of all, he moved me out of the homeless shelter right before COVID hit. As soon as he got me out of the homeless shelter and got me into an apartment, COVID hit. And it was all locked down and a wrap from there. And had it not been for him moving me out of there, I would have been stuck. And it was the height, it was the beginning of C-19. So then I've kept the same job. Yahweh moved my partners around. I had to get, that's another thing. My original partner, it was our plan. Actually, this was my man. This was my homeboy. Like I was cool with his family. Like his kids call me uncle, right? Well, once we partnered up, it was all downhill because I was basically the one that was making him get up for work and come on time. He couldn't stop popping Xannies, right? And drive like, oh, it was crazy. Don't you know that the person I'm talking about right now just got locked up for a murder and a robbery? Like he lost his mind. He went all out. Like he left behind 2 kids. Like, hey, and when we were together driving, I used to tell him about the truth because he was open-minded. But then he was like he would start blaspheming and saying he just didn't have no belief, man. He was like he was open-minded, but he didn't have no belief. And I would tell him all the time, and I kept warning him about certain things. And to this day, and then we end up not being partners. He was acting a fool. The Most High moved me and partnered me up with this old head who has the biggest vehicle. It's an extended cab. It's real clean. And my partner is one of the only few people that don't smoke. Because every time, all these partners that they was partnering me up with, you get in their truck, it's nasty. They smoking 1,000 cigarettes. And I will always get into it. I will politely ask them, like, hey, I don't smoke. Can you wait till we're stopped? I got to go through the same thing, but I'm jumping ahead. So that when they moved me with the old head, okay, so my old head, well, he stopped working. We will work Monday through Friday. So he stopped working on Fridays. So they started having me come in anyway, but they kept giving me different partners. And so I'm like, And every time it's some dirty ass Edomite, some dirty ass cigarette smoking Edomite. So I finally went off on the supervisors. I'm like, listen, because I was calling off. I would say I had like counseling or some kind of meeting, and they wrote me up, and I went off. I'm like, listen, man, y'all keep putting me with different people in the middle of a pandemic. Really, I didn't want to get up. I was tired of having a different partner every freaking Friday. So I'm like, y'all keep putting me with all these different people. They all smoke. All their trucks is dirty, and I'm like, why can't y'all just leave me alone? Like, y'all let my partner take Fridays off. I work. We put in 40 hours Monday through Thursday. Be tired as hell by the time Friday come, and he gets the day off, right? So they left me alone for a while, right? They was giving me Fridays off. Like 2 weeks ago, they scheduled me, right, for some dude. So I'm like, all right. So as I'm getting in the truck, dude's already, he's leaning over, straightening something up, just coughing with his mouth open. I said, yo, man, yo, you gotta cover up your mouth. Like, I shouldn't even have to say nothing like that. He said, and somehow it led into, he was like, oh, don't worry. He's like, I had COVID. Like, it led into him saying, I had COVID a couple weeks ago. He's like, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I had both shots. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, you gonna tell me the supervisor put me with this dude after we had a conversation. I told him I don't want to be around multiple people like that. Oh, I know why. Me and the supervisor had a conversation because we have to have meetings, right? We have to have monthly meetings on the phone. It used to be in person, but when COVID hit, we had to do it by meetings on the phone. So one day they tell us that there's a COVID outbreak, but they won't say who it is, how many people it was, and they're like, just be careful. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And they won't tell us who it is. It could be anybody around here, right? Me and my partner, I got the same partner all week, and we don't work around all the other people. You know what I mean? We got one of the best gigs, and I know this is because of YAHAWAH. YAHAWAH put me there. We have one of the best gigs out of all the workers, out of like 500 some workers. We have one of the best jobs, right? But it's my partner who's he's a veteran because he's like 60 some years old, right? And he got they give him a double wide truck. Everybody else got this single truck, and it's all filthy and shit. So I know that's the grace and mercies of Yahweh, man, keeping me and preserving me, right? And then once again, my prayer is always that He's not preserving me because I'm wicked. He's preserving me for the right reasons, right? I ain't gonna sit here and say, "Oh, I don't sin." I'm just saying, you know it. You know what it means to be separate and be peculiar amongst everybody else. It is vexing. Just devils just getting high. Even my apartment complex, man. Just devils. Their whole mission in life is to wake up and get fucked up and do it over again and collect Social Security. Don't gotta worry about getting up early in the morning. Just noise and shit all night. That's what I gotta do. But once again, I take that again as another test from the Most High, right? Testing my patience. So anyway, we're separate from the rest of the co-workers. There was an outbreak. They wouldn't tell nobody who it was. So I'm like, you just said last week that there was an outbreak. You can't tell who it is because of HIPAA, but then you keep putting me with different people, all these dirty ass dudes every Friday. I'm like, my partner works Monday through Thursday and he has Friday off. You already said that you want to keep people together to slow the spread and not mix and match. So why the hell is you singling me out and making and putting me in the middle of the battlefield on Fridays? You see what I'm getting at? So after we had that conversation, they left me alone for a while, for like 3 months. So when they scheduled me last Friday, I'm like, all right. And then they put me with a dude that then had COVID and 2 shots. Bugged the hell out, moving all fast like Flash Gordon and shit. I'm like, man, I had words with the supervisor again. I just said, hey, man, I don't care if he had. I'm like, nobody even told me. Like, and I said, and the so-called, you know what? They don't even know everything about what they're putting in that joint, right? I didn't say this, but I said I've just read in certain news articles that even though you get that, you know what, some people end up still having, you know what, I mean? I'm like, it's just uncomfortable, man. I'm not trying to work with that dude again. Yeah, this is what we go through, man, on the plantation. So long story short, today my partner calls off. Uh, he called off last Thursday. Said he was sick or something, elephant on his chest. So we get our text on Sundays to let us know that we're going to work tomorrow. So he texted me like an hour ago and said, after texting me Thursday and saying he was sick, he texted me and said, I'm taking a swab. He's like, it'll tell me in like 30 minutes or something. Yo, I'm like, I didn't even respond back. Like, in my mind, right? It was like my whole life flashed before my eyes, because I was like, number one, I ain't taking that shit. I ain't taking no swab. I said, I got to stand for something. I said that eventually this whole situation is going to intensify. Okay? I stand for something. I'm not taking a swab. I was already prepared in my mind. Like, I'm already prepared. Like, man, if I got to be in the wilderness or use whatever little bit of money I got to survive or find another gig, I'm not taking a swab. If they tell me if my partner comes up positive, all hell is going to break loose, right? Because I know if he tests positive, it's going to be all hell break loose. So waited for a few minutes, 20, 10 minutes later, 15, and I get a text. He's like, all right, I'm negative. I'll see you in the morning. I'm like, man, this is crazy as hell. I'm like, that's the mercies of Yahawah, man. That's the mercy of Yahawah, preserving me. That was a preservation right there. So long story short, I want to give all praise to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, and Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rukakadash, man. That's the mercies of Yahawah. And yeah, that's the story for right now. And we know these things are gonna happen worse, and we're only being prepared. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like, for real, for real. I was like, I'm just gonna go find another gig because I'm not taking that swab. But yet again, the Most High had mercy. So it's back business as usual. Lord willing, catch you on the next one.